It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning with Fletcher.
Oh, my goodness. Happy Cheesecake Day.
And Ryder.
But it's at least a solid number 2.
That's what I'm always going for. Solid number 2.
That's always a good way to start the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
I always prefer to have number 2 be solid.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than the...
the alternative.
opposite. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, especially in a pinch. Wow. Hey, look at that.
Oh, man.
Pinch that loaf.
It's Wednesday.
Yes.
It is. That's what I heard.
And it is time to get going. I'm feeling Minnesota, which means I'm interested in knowing what's going on in the world. Paul, what have you got?
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to all administrative professionals. It's their national day. They do a lot of work, generally the unsung hero of any office anywhere. So happy National Administrative Professionals Day.
Okay,
Yeah.
but man, that's a mouthful. That's almost a fist bump.
It's I mean, for them it is.
My shoulders are a little sore. I mean it well. I'm intending to fist bump all administrative assistants.
I've worked in a lot of radio stations where that person is always like the person that it's like they're the mother or the father of the entire building. They take care of everybody. So I just want to give them a shout out.
Right on.
Minnesota's Office of Cannabis Management has launched a grant program that will provide up to $2 million in aid to help farmers navigate the cannabis industry. The Can Grow program will include training to farmers and the availability of low-interest loans. The program hopes to accelerate market entry and growth for farmers ready to start or expand their farms while avoiding some of the costs and risks associated with the jump.
Okay.
$2 million seems low.
It seems real low.
Yeah, especially all the tax dollars we're supposed to get off that thing. Let's go.
That doesn't go very far when you start, giving people, lectures and lessons and teaching. All that $2 million's like, hey, that sounded good.
Here's one bud you'll get out of this. The International Monetary Fund yesterday lowered its 2025 growth outlook for the U.S. and global economy, citing heightened uncertainty and economic disruption caused by President Trump's sweeping new tariffs. Tariffs is going to end up being the word of 2025, I'll bet you.
I believe that's the case.
U.S. growth estimates fell to 1.8 from 2.7%, the largest reduction among the world's advanced economies.
Oops.
Yeah, not ideal. Local musicians, artists, and fans are giving Bob Slim Dunlap the tribute he deserves. Following his passing in December at age 73, a memorial and tribute concert has been organized by members of his family and will be held at First Ave on May 19th. Dunlap had a good run as a solo artist in the Twin Cities, but is best known for his time playing guitar in The Replacements. He joined the group in 87, replacing Bob Stinson.
He was Bob Dunlap, and they didn't want to replace Bob with Bob, so they called him Slim. How about that?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
He wasn't Slim. I think he was Slim before he was in The Replacements.
Hey, listen, look it up.
Okay, I will. Bruce,
Greg, by the way, wonderful human being.
I've heard that from
absolute gentleman.
It's
he's the best.
One of the local dudes I never got a chance to meet, and I so regret it because I've heard that from so many people. Bruce Springsteen has discussed his involvement with his upcoming biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Often you hear the subject of these projects expressing objections of some sort, but Bruce says his set visits brought back some memories and describing the film as, quote, fantastic. So it sounds like he's giving his stamp of approval. Directed by Scott Cooper, the film stars Jeremy Allen White. Love him as the singer during the early 80s and centers around the personal and professional circumstances that led to his seminal work, 1982's Nebraska. No release date just yet.
You know how serious I was as a young man? That was the only Springsteen record I would ever admit to owning.
Nebraska.
Yeah, I did love that record. It blew my mind. I wasn't into the Boss, and then I heard that. I was like, I guess he's all right. Yeah, great record. I still love that record.
And then you love Dancing in the Dark.
No, not so much.
Okay, fair enough. That's what I got. Let's get some sports. There's good sports this morning.
How about some good sports this morning? Minnesota Wild in Vegas, late night hockey. Kaprizov is like, guys, it's only 2 games. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But what 2 games? 2 assists in the opener. And then last night, a couple of goals for himself. And to kick things off, he set up Matt Boldy with this one.
Kaprizov picks it up for Minnesota. Ahead for Boldy. Boldy's in behind the defense. He scores!
That goal was ridiculous.
Kaprizov to Boldy one more time. time, and Minnesota has the game's first goal in Vegas.
3 goals in the first period for the Wild. The Golden Knights came out, took the first 5 shots of the game. They were stonewalled, and then bing, bang, boom, the Wild get a big lead. Got a little dicey towards the end, another empty netter, as there was for Vegas in Game 1. We had one last night. The series is tied. They come back here Thursday night. Big, big, big win on the road for the Wild.
You know what? A couple pats on the back are needed. First off, we talked briefly last night, and I said, I think they're going to be all right, which they definitely were.
Sure.
But also, going into the series, somebody in this 3-person team said Matt Boldy needed to be big.
Yeah.
And dude has been amazing. Like, dude, I've learned to skate when I'm 3. Okay?
Yeah.
I've been hockey my whole life,
Right.
even before music.
Okay.
It still blows my mind watching these dudes. That first goal that Matt Boldy scored, he makes it look so easy. Backhand, forehand, between the goalie's legs, like he just is out there just
Sure.
like with his buddies. It's just, don't know how hard that is. It looks like just a run-of-the-mill goal, but it's so hard.
He texted me last night. He said even he couldn't believe it. That's
Yeah,
not
Matt
true.
Boldy said that?
I made that up.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves got their asses handed to them last
Yuck.
night from the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Edwards, after the game, said, I can't even remember what happened for real because of the Lakers' quick start. Here's what happened. Our team is led by a young star who will not be a true superstar for 3 more years because that's the NBA's growth chart. 26 years old, 27 years old, that's when people put it all together. Ant is a great player, but he's nowhere near the player he will be. We just need a point guard in their early prime, and then we'll be cooking with gas. This is going to be okay. The Twins last night with a win over the blessed and miraculously gifted upon us, as per usual, Chicago White Sox.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
Late 9th inning last night at home, infield single. The bases are loaded, and Byron Buxton does this to seal the deal.
The 2-2 in the air to right center field. Buxton on the move to his left. Buxton will dive, and he caught the ball. Buxton caught the ball.
Yes, he
Twins
did.
win.
Twins win. They're 8-15 on the season, but that's an exciting moment. It is a hell of a play to preserve the victory for the Minnesota Twins.
I think we've always waited for his bat to mature, which it has, maybe not super consistently, but it has. However, the glove,
Always.
it's never been a question. That dude's unbelievable in the field.
Golden. Maple Lake, glad to have you with us this morning. We're thinking of our friends in Maple Lake, Minnesota. Hey, remember all the way back to, when was it? Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
When the Australian answer to Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen freaked the entire universe out? Well, prepare yourself because the Unison twins are just getting started. The Unison twins from Australia, the 50-some-odd-old identical twins who became an overnight sensation when giving an interview and speaking perfectly in unison. Well, Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show tracked them down, and they had another moment. I think it's just beginning. We have entered the Unison era.
Is like the distinction between your own thought and your sister's thought gone? Like, do you not even know whether you're using their thoughts or your own?
No, I know. I wish we could know ourselves, honestly. I wish we could answer that.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, that was an Australian interview, but
freaky.
But they were on Kimmel last night, and
We'll hear that later.
He said to them, "When did you know you were a worldwide sensation?" And they said together, "When you called us." They're just. It's just getting started. I think these people are going to be haunting us for months and months and months and months. Sometimes I think about my brother Dave, who's a complete lunatic and a fantastic middle school teacher.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, his kids have no idea what he's really up to. I'm sure that they would love to know. I'm not going to tell any of his secrets, but I know this. I remember when I realized my teachers were human beings. And, you go to the teacher's lounge once and you're like, oh, my God, what are they doing in there? Teachers have secrets. They keep secrets from us. They want us as kids to think they got it all under control. I'm sure they don't. 651-989-ROCK. I want to hear some teacher confessions because we've got some doozies to share with you.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Good Wednesday morning. Teachers, man, where would we be without them? I have nothing but respect for teachers. I love the ones that I grew up with. I remember every teacher I ever had.
Okay.
But boy, when you're a parent and you get around a bunch of teachers that are teaching your kids, you really, as an adult, go, wow, you guys are amazing. I mean, the hours they give,
I ain't
the
doing
heart,
it.
the soul.
Their actual money, their own money.
Of course. I've blown away by all the teachers I know, except for my brother who's a teacher, because I know him personally, and I know that he goes to Mardi Gras every year and loses his mind, and he goes to dozens of concerts every year, and he has a pet opossum. I worry for the kids. You know what I mean?
He's got to blow steam off.
He does. He really does.
I think it's better to have a teacher who spends the time at Mardi Gras and goes crazy all the time than somebody who just keeps it all in. They're going to lose it on the kids and start giving them CBD gummies.
That's exactly what's going to happen, Ryder. Thank you. No, he's a wonderful man and a great teacher, and he's well respected. But it's just funny because I look at him and I think these kids think he's like, that's Mr. Gorman, and I'm like, Dave, really? But that's how it goes. And teachers, my brother, I'm sure, has got a lot of. He's cut a lot of corners. Any teacher would have to.
Yeah.
And I've known other teachers, of course. Some of the teachers that taught my kids went on to become friends. Like my kids are in their 20s now, and I know their elementary school teachers will bump into each other. I've had drinks with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like actually socialized at times. And man. I just, it's, again, a full honor and respect, and I love teachers, but I would never make it because I'd cut every possible corner. I'd break every social rule imaginable. Teacher confessions. By the way, if you're a teacher, we're saying this with love. We'd love to hear what you do that nobody knows.
And we can keep it anonymous.
We'll keep it all anonymous. 651-989-ROCK. You can send us a text. You can also call. We're looking for anything you guys do. The school year's pretty much coming to an end. We're right around the corner from the end of the year. And there's a few already. This I'm just going to lead with this one. I always grade drunk, meaning when I'm grading your tests, I'm drunk. Which I get it. You know what you don't. I don't think they're blackout drunk, but they're having a few cocktails. I couldn't possibly sit through and grade test after test after test without a sip or two myself.
What a tedious job that would be that you have to get through. You can't just you can't just go, oh yeah, A. You've got to take it seriously, but again, a tedious job, right?
Nothing.
150 essays on the freaking grapes of wrath.
Nothing an old-fashioned wouldn't help. Yeah. How about this one? I don't grade any of my students' final exams. I just give them whatever grade they already have in class at that point. Ooh, that's kind of tough.
I like that one because people freak out about the final.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks for me because I was always I was a crammer. I'd just float through the semester and then I would do well on finals because I would cram for 2 days, and then as second I turned that test in, I forgot everything I had just held on to my short-term memory with.
I've got one I really like.
What's that?
Movie days equal hangover days.
Oh, sure.
So if you're watching, you know what? My daughter's second grade class watched a movie yesterday in class.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, we know what was going on. Teacher confession 651-989-ROCK on the KQ Talk and text line. Teachers are people too. Ryder?
I'm going to bust one. I'm going to bust an acquaintance of ours. So I was on a work trip with a bunch of buddies. Somebody brought his now wife along who happens to be a teacher, and the trip happened to be during MEA. And I looked at her, and MEA is this big teacher conference thing that happens only in the state of Minnesota. They go to all these conferences and learn how to be these great teachers over 4 days. And I said to her, Amber, aren't you supposed to be at MEA right now? She just laughs and laughs and laughs.
Sure.
She's like, nobody goes to those things. We just take the time off and party for 4 days.
Damn straight.
I was floored. I had no idea. This was like when you tell kids about Santa or the Easter, but I was like, what do you mean you're not learning how to be these amazing? She's like, no, we just got to blow steam off. So,
hey, man,
I hope that's what they do.
My senior trip, when I was graduating high school, my senior class, I went to a tiny school. We had 12 people in my senior class. We took a week-long trip to Florida with two teachers went along. 2 teachers and someone's parent and a parent.
Okay.
So 3 adults, 12 kids, and even though I was a senior in high school, I was still astonished to find out just how much those 3 adults went to Florida to drink and stay away from us. I was like, hey, wait a minute. They really aren't going to watch us at all, ever? They're just here to, as you said, blow off steam? There was a lot of steam being blown off. I can tell you that.
Oh,
I worked in my senior year. Me and one of my best friends, we worked at the school on the maintenance staff, which meant we were janitors. So I had keys to the whole school, and I drove one of the school vans. I took it home every day because it got vandalized once. I had a free passenger van for my small town, small school. You can get away with murder. So I had this great 15-passenger van that was that I just had the run of. I had keys to everything. The downside was if someone threw up during the day, I would get called in to go clean it up with that orange powder crap you spill on the floor. But otherwise it was a pretty sweet job, sweeping up afterwards. Blah blah blah. But again, keys to all the offices to clean up. And there was a big rumor going around school. One of the teachers and another one of the teachers, we think they kind of have a thing going on. Maybe there's a little, he said, she said, they're both married to other people. My buddy Todd and I discovered one time, because we may or may not have been in each of these teachers' offices and opened the desk drawer, that the one thing they both had in their desk drawer was the same brand of condom.
No.
Yeah, and we were like, wait a minute. And I'm proud to say that we kept that information to ourselves for at least a week.
Yeah.
At least a week.
Stitches, man.
They do, man. It was pretty wild. But here's a teacher confession for you. This is a tough one. I've banged one of their moms. I also helped change answers on entrance exams to help someone's kids get into our school. Holy smoke! Now that's
was it the mom that were
actually
banging
I gotta think it was. This is a Netflix show waiting to happen. Bad Teachers.
Yes.
There probably has been a Bad Teacher. That sounds like a movie. Bad Teachers.
There have been. I'm pretty sure there have been.
I think it stars Cameron Diaz.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that was like, hey, well, I guess I'm not really the most original creator over here.
And there have been plenty. Okay, so my story is me, my good buddies Frank and Matt. We're at Duffy's Bar in downtown Osseo.
Okay.
This is like early 20s. And, just a night out with the dudes, right? Throwing some darts, having some beverages. Look over, and there's Mr. Beep at the bar, who we had back in junior high.
Okay.
He joined us playing darts. We got S-faced together, with him.
Nice.
It was legendary,
it's
right?
A good thing.
Like we got to be adults. The guy that taught us when we were far from adults, and that was there wasn't much more to that other than the fact that we're in downtown Osseo. I went to Osseo High School.
Right.
We're at this crappy bar off Main Street, and just got plowed
Come
with
on,
the
man.
guy
You're
who
supposed
taught
to-
us social
you're-
studies.
You're supposed to end the night in handcuffs with that story. Come on.
Easy for you to say. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of handcuffs.
No, no one
I've
is.
done that
I
once.
just
Don't want to do it again.
I thought there was going to be a couple of misthrown darts, and next thing you know, the police are involved, and you're getting arrested with your science teacher or whatever it was.
Hammered with a dude that taught us social studies is
That's
good
pretty
enough.
good.
Yeah, that's good enough.
No, that's always good.
Not as salacious as you'd like, but it was fun.
And I'm glad it happened. Who won the darts?
God, 25 years ago. I don't have no clue.
651-989 Rock. As it is right now, I'm feeling
I won darts.
You know what?
No,
There you go. I'm feeling Minnesota-like, which means I'm curious as to what's going on in the world.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Good Wednesday morning. Very glad to have you with us. We're feeling it. By it, I mean Minnesota. We're feeling Minnesota. Paul, what's happening in the world?
35W, it's Wednesday. We're urging towards the weekend, and I want to just give you a heads up now so you know. 35W going to be closed in both directions this weekend between Burnsville and Bloomington. MnDOT said the closure between the Burnsville split and I-94 in Bloomington will begin at 9 p.m. Friday, go through 6 a.m. Monday. The shutdown will allow crews to take down the Burnsville Parkway and Highway 13 bridges.
Oh, geez.
That pass over the highway as part of a broader $80 million improvement project in the area. So
that makes me not even want to leave home. The ripple effects will just, wherever you're trying to get to, it's going to be a problem.
62 is going to be garbage. Some people go all the way up to 3. Whatever.
Yeah. It's good to,
169.
Sometimes it's good to live in Albertville.
I guess.
Yeah.
Pope Francis was known for his humble style and lived that till the very end. He asked for a simple underground tomb. The basilica, which sits outside the walls of the Vatican, is home to Francis's favorite icon of the Virgin Mary, to whom he was particularly devoted to. The burial site is a break from tradition, as many Francis's predecessors were laid to rest in the crypt of St. Peter's Basilica. Months before his death, however, he revised funeral rites and simplified them to emphasize his role as a mere bishop. These changes allowed for burial outside the Vatican. Lastly, if you hadn't heard, Vatican announced he suffered a stroke that put him in a coma that led to heart failure. But seriously, humble until, his last months. I mean, it's just all the way to the end. It's unbelievable.
Rock on, brother.
Yeah, he's awesome. Carlos Santana postponed a show in San Antonio last night just hours before the show, was at the, quote, venue preparing when he experienced an event that was determined to be dehydration. The 77-year-old was hospitalized but is said to be doing well and hopes to make up the date soon.
Okay, good to know. That's a reminder for me to get some water today.
Drink lots of water, yeah. Don't go the way of Carlos Santana.
I'm all or nothing. I either drink about a gallon or none. I can't seem to regulate my water intake to save my life.
Just bring in a bottle, drink it here while you're here, and get it done with.
Honey, I know what to do. Let's do it.
Let's just do it.
It just doesn't happen.
Okay. I'm going to get you a bottle, and I'm going to fill it for you and put it next to you every day.
It's not going to work.
Okay.
It's a me thing. It's not a you thing. I appreciate your effort.
Okay. I won't try then. Turns out partnering with Netflix was a pretty good idea. The WWE said its flagship event, WrestleMania, last weekend set records across the board. Viewership on Peacock and Netflix surged to 114% from 2024 levels. I mean, most companies would be happy with 15% growth year over year. 114%. And this is wild. The amount of viewing time is estimated to be around 2.6 billion live minutes.
That's a lot of wrestling.
That's massive.
After that Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fiasco, I think Netflix should be real proud of this.
I would imagine so.
They've had a number of successful events with WWE, but this one is obviously just bonkers.
Wow, fair enough. All right, let's talk about real sports. Hey, the Minnesota Wild are back in business. They have taken home ice advantage from the Vegas Golden Knights with a big win last night, 5-2. Kaprizov, man, play some hockey, dude. Not only an amazing pass to set up Boldy's first goal, but he put a couple in himself, including this one right here.
A 2-on-1, Kaprizov and Boldy. Kaprizov shoots. Save made by Hill. Score! It's squeezed across the line. Kaprizov just enough past Aiden Hill to make it 4-0 Minnesota.
It was a trickler.
Let me just scooch on past you right here. That's what that was.
Oh. You know what I like as a Wild fan?
What's that?
A 2-on-1 and Kaprizov shot the puck.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Wild fans harp on, and they're not wrong. He defers. He always looks because he's got great vision. But now and then, you got to let it rip, son.
Got to make the right hockey play. Sometimes the right hockey play is actually shooting it yourself. The pass that set up Boldy's first goal, dude. After the game, Boldy said it's the best pass he's ever seen. And then Foligno was sitting right next to him, and he goes, dude, I assisted the first goal you ever scored. What are you talking about? Good times in the Wild locker room right now.
They're having fun.
The Timberwolves were reminded last night that it's great to be a good up-and-coming team, except for when you forget that you're young and every game is really a must-win. They could have put this series away. They came out flat. The Lakers rolled them. That's experience talking right there. The Lakers would have never said it's a must-win game, but they just went out and acted like they knew it was a must-win game. You don't want to go down 2 on the road, 2 at home like the Lakers. So anyway, the Timberwolves got rolled. The series, just like with the Wild, comes back to the Twin Cities. Big picture, the Timberwolves are not going to win a title this year. That's not even early in the cards. They still could win this series. Ant-Man is 23. That's important to remember. The average NBA superstar hits his peak 26, 27, 28 even. So he's still got a long way to go before he's the player every night in and night out that we know he will be.
Go as far as you can. Doesn't matter what sport you're playing, what level it is. Get experience. Learn from whatever is happening, whether it's good or bad, and take it into the following year.
The NBA more than any, because one player can't, the best player in the series is a great barometer, usually wins that series. It's only 5 guys, not waves of players like other sports. And it is a learning process. More than any, it is all about getting those postseason reps. The Twins and the postseason used to be mentioned in the same sentence all the time. It's been a while. But right now, the Twins are 8-15. The good news is we got a couple more games with the White Sox to play. Last night, at least one big moment. Byron Buxton with a game-saving catch.
The 2-2. In the air to right center field. Buxton on the move to his left. Buxton will dive! And he caught the ball! Buxton caught the ball! Twins win!
That's what it sounds like when you got runners on second and third in the top of the ninth, I should say, with 2 outs, and you save the game with a diving catch. Nice job, Byron Buxton. Andover, Minnesota. We're thinking of you. Andover.
Andover.
Come on, Andover.
I've got family there.
Do you
Andover,
really?
Andover, yeah.
Oh,
Hi to the
beautiful.
Kaisers. Yeah, wonderful.
NBA on TNT. What? Go
I
ahead.
had a quick question before we got into that.
Sure.
What do you think about the drumming on that song? I'm curious because it stands out to me.
It stands out because a 9-year-old could do it?
Prevalent. What's that? Because anyone can do it?
A 9-year-old, I
A
said.
9-year-old? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's really basic.
What you're saying is you like the mix.
I guess so, yeah.
If it's prevalent, if you're like, it really kicks me, then whoever mixed that record, you just gave them a nice compliment.
Yeah, well,
no, that kid's a fine drummer. He's a perfectly fine drummer.
Okay, wonderful. And you know what? Master mix.
Haven't given it another thought.
Is it easier to master the stuff that's kind of simple rather than the stuff that's really super extravagant? Is it easier to?
Well, you mean mixing is what you're talking about.
All right.
Mastering is this final process that nobody understands, even the people who do it. But mixing
is it easier? What's harder for you as a drummer, doing the simple, straightforward stuff, or going just bat crap crazy and like making something really fancy?
Well, now come on, I've never thought about this stuff.
Oh, sorry.
When I start to think about it, it gets weird.
All right.
Okay, well, think about it and get back to us.
No, it's two different things. When you have a song where you're playing a lot, where you have a very involved part and you're doing fills and all that kind of stuff, you just catch the wave and you find one and it's perfect.
Okay.
It can actually be way more difficult to play the very, very straight, simple, no fill songs, just because depending on if you're a session guy, it's not. But if you're in a band, if it's take 11,
it's monotonous, right? Because you maybe lose focus, or
well, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ADHD like a maniac over here. It's like I'm either 1,000% dialed in, or I'm thinking about my taxes while playing in the studio. These things happen.
You're like, ooh, squirrel. Yeah,
pretty much.
I hear you.
That happens.
Whenever I'm doing my job, I'm thinking a lot about going to the bathroom and when I'm going to be able to go to the bathroom next. No lie.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in front of thousands of people with that very thought.
Gordon Raphael. Congrats to him. He mixed that song. So.
Well done, brother. Yeah. NBA on TNT. You don't have to be a basketball fan to appreciate the genius of this show. For years, it's been the funniest thing on television, in my very humble opinion. Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet, it's and Ernie Johnson. It's just one of the great broadcasting phenomena of the last dozen or so years. Monday night, NBA on TNT had one of those moments that they will talk about and we will enjoy hearing them talk about for years, when Shaquille O'Neal suddenly had a change of plans.
The other thing about Kawhi is... You all right, big fella?
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Keep talking, Jeff.
Yeah, we're on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that olive oil you've been drinking.
I know.
Hey, take some matches with you.
Take some matches with you.
Hey, listen, he couldn't hold it. He can't hold it. After 40, he can't hold it no more.
That's a first.
He can't hold it.
Unless
been drinking the olive oil.
You know what?
Olive oil to clean his gut. It's cleaning his gut. Hey, listen.
I just hope we got enough matches around here.
Please turn his mic off. That's all.
Turn the mic off.
This is what happens when you put personalities together in a room.
Especially,
and give them freedom.
And when one of them is as large as Shaq, you don't just sneak out of the room. It's like everything spins on its heel.
Dude could not be a ninja.
Like I said, we've all been there. And when you're like if that happened to me right now, I would stay on the mic until we hit the commercial break, because it's radio and you guys, I just would think, but when you're Shaq, you just don't even, and it's live television and it's being beamed across the world. It's like, no, man, you guys don't understand what's happening here. I got to go.
I know, and I have a little bit more, like, you can wave at, like, give me some sort of signal, and then suddenly we're playing another song. That can't happen on live TV.
No.
There isn't anything to just cut to when somebody really has to go.
But this is what I'm talking about. When you allow people freedom, the whole reason he got up and went to the bathroom is, part of it's probably because he's Shaq, but he's also around a team or in a team where his people in charge are like, do you, man? And like, I guarantee you that was like as much orchestrated as he maybe could have made it till the commercial break. He's like, no, I'm going to go just because it's good TV.
It is one of my favorite shows. It's amazing.
They're great.
I've read like a think piece last year where somebody said that show is so successful and popular that it has, in a way, hurt the ability. People don't need to watch the games; they watch that. Like there's and people follow the NBA now on Twitter or with social media, and then that show. And I know this. I used to, when I would miss a game when I was a kid, or even in my adult years, before this show had become what it is, I'd miss a game and you just hate catching up on highlights. And I don't feel that way because it's like, oh, well, I'll just catch the NBA on TNT and see what they have to say about it. It's truly I say that sincerely, and I guess I'm a broadcasting professional. It's one of the great pieces of television and or any type of broadcasting that's ever been created. That show is spectacular.
Agreed.
And across the world, it's being mimicked. Soccer coverage in other countries. If you watch a game on Paramount Plus, they're trying to recreate that. They've done a really good job of it. Remember the movie The Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep has the amazing scene where she says, "You thought you chose that blue sweater," when actually, and she explains how that color, cerulean blue, was chosen 3 years ago by people in this very room. It makes me think about the fact that every time I look at a restaurant menu, I think I'm actually choosing what I want to eat. But am I really? Restaurants and their dirty tactics. I always think when I sit down at a restaurant that I am in charge of my destiny. I'm going to pick what I want off the menu. I'm not going to allow anything to influence me other than what I'm interested in.
It's a free country.
And that's
do what you want.
Complete nonsense, because every restaurant worth its salt is doing all they can to steer you in several different directions at all times. Apparently, that's what I'm reading right here. But some of this stuff, you're gonna hear it and go, oh yeah, well that would make sense. But although you don't think about it in real time,
right?
Anything from like the music they're playing to the lighting in the room, it's designed to keep you there longer or move you faster out. Depending on
move you out.
Well, if there's a long wait, if they've got more people they want to get in, if they want to turn tables, if they got reservations, very simply, the music that they're playing in a restaurant, for example. Slower music when it's quiet, that's going to keep you there longer, maybe get an extra appetizer, maybe have another cocktail. But if it's packed, if there's a line, they pick up the tempo of the music. This is at restaurants of all different sorts of, all different price levels, all different food styles. Slow tempo makes you stay longer. Faster tempo is going to make you eat and leave. That's the thinking. There's so many of these things. I'm curious, if you're a restaurant employee, what do you do to get the customer to do what you're looking for? If you're a server or if you have a restaurant that you're a manager of, 651-989-ROCK. Little things like if a tip jar by the cash register.
Oh, yeah.
There's always money in the tip. You never see an empty tip jar.
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant, and that was the first thing we did in the morning was put in that starter dollar to put cash in there.
Yeah,
People would put more cash in.
The first job I had at a tip jar, it was a pizza joint with a tip jar. And there were two things that had to happen every day. Somebody was responsible for taping a piece of paper on the outside of the jar with something funny.
Yes.
Or, tipping is not a city in China. That was one of my favorites. Or the other was you would take this is a long time ago. You'd take a $5 bill and you would dangle it. You'd put it on the edge of the tip jar, held in place with a piece of tape. But so it was so it was sticking out of the jar.
Like $5 back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day. It was like, yo, man, come on, let's go.
A $5.
And we were told, and I was taught, you'd ring them up on the cash register, and you'd say, okay, that's going to be, $17.36. And then the first thing you do is tap the top of the tip jar. Just tap it.
That's
right
a little over the top.
It was an over the top kind of, but the whole point was, hey, man.
Dirty, in fact.
Hey, man, I'm making $5 an hour back here. Hook a brother up. I got to pay rent,
Yeah.
That's how that would go. But the other thing I've seen this, I remember at some point having this thought, which is, wow, they took away the dollar sign by the prices. You used to see your thing, and the dollar sign, the S with the two lines. You just see a number.
Yes.
19 as opposed to $19. And I very consciously let's not talk about money. Let's just put that number there and hopefully they won't notice.
I thought because it looked aesthetically cooler to not have the dollar sign there, but it really is all psychological.
It's all psychological.
And also, on one that I read is they put one item on the menu that is really expensive. Mm-hmm. To make all the other prices seem like they're very affordable.
Yeah,
clever.
Yeah. The absolutely that's so much. This this particular burger's $21, but the rest are $14, and it's like
14's not so bad.
Also the special, when you see today's special, you go back in a few days later, it's the same special, and you're like, oh, I thought that was going to be extra fresh.
Or when you ask your server, hey, what's good? They're actually telling you what's good for them to get rid of.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had the weirdest menu experience I think I remember having was during the 96 Summer Olympics. Okay, I lived in Atlanta back then. So Atlanta hosted the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I walked into, there was a little Indian place right around the corner from our house that my wife and I would go to regularly. And in the middle of the Olympics, a couple things were really surprising. It was a ghost town. Everybody got out of Dodge. And the people who would travel back then to come to the Olympics, they weren't looking for bars and nightclubs and late night partying. They're all really into athletics. Like the people that travel to go to Olympic gymnastic events, they're really into gymnastics. And a lot of them are former gymnasts. Track and field people, they're in good shape. My point is there wasn't this uproarious late night culture with people from around the world keeping the bars open till 4 and eating late. The businesses that all thought they were going to make a killing, they didn't. It was like the exact opposite. And I walked
record-breaking attendance, wasn't it?
We walked. But they're not spending money in restaurants and bars.
Fair.
They're all.
Okay.
It's people with kids, and they're crammed into one Holiday Inn room that they found 40 miles away.
Fair.
We walked into our favorite little Indian joint, and the guy handed us the menus, and it was the same menu we always saw, but they didn't print new menus. They put little pieces of tape over the prices and wrote the new prices on the piece of tape. Just blatant price gouging, and everything was 2 times at least what it normally was. And I pointed it out to the guy. I go, "Hey man, what is with this?" And he goes, "Oh no, you're local. Sorry, you'll pay normal prices." And I was like, "Why just blatantly going for it?
Why not? Why wouldn't you? Like you said, you're making $5 an hour."
But if you're a waiter at a bar or a restaurant, there's little things you do in conversation. You just drop little hints. I'm sure you're just you're the puppet master. And here I think I'm just ordering what I want to have.
Yeah,
go figure. 651-989-ROCK. I want to hear what your tips are.
I tip my cap to the psychological warfare.
Absolutely.
I had no idea any of this was going on, and I love it. It's great.
It was all going on. Sometimes restaurants will go so far as to say, "Hey, you with the kid, get the hell out of here." That's not so much. Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
It's not subtle at all, but it sure as hell makes sense. And 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. And Ted is on the horn. Ted, good morning.
Yeah, hi. I just want to say that in 1970 we opened the first McDonald's in St. Cloud.
Ooh.
And we had about a week of training down the basement. And one of the things they touched on was that the booths, the seating setup was designed to be very uncomfortable. You sat very erect so that you'd eat your food and then you'd run. You didn't want to hang out.
Yes.
So that's just another thing that happened.
Set erect.
Back in the day.
Straight up. I mean, it was, and we had about a week of training, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, we used to care. So much more care back in the day. Ted, thank you for the call. But it's crazy to think in 1970 they were already doing that stuff. In my mind, the 70s, it was all still, "Hey, man, do what you want. Feel free. Get a burger? All right, cool. You don't have money? That's cool. We'll get it next time." That wasn't the case.
He's not wrong, though. I distinctly remember those the old straight back swivel chairs that they had in McDonald's back in the day. They were not comfy at all. Then again, I was 10 years old and I had a Happy Meal in my face.
Sure.
I didn't care.
Sometimes restaurants aren't exactly doing everything they can to keep you there longer. In fact, sometimes they'll just kick your ass right out. This happened. A woman with her toddler walked into a restaurant in Australia and eventually had to leave. The restaurant was like, "We don't want you here anymore. You and that kid get out." And she was very upset by this. You can only imagine the debilitating, insulting way this must have gone down. And of course, she went right to TikTok to talk about it.
Of course.
No.
She really did, I promise.
She did.
I've got a busy
There we
toddler,
go.
yes. He sits on a chair at home. He'll eat at the table with us. Not perfect, but he'll eat with us. He got off the chair. He went and said hello to the people next to us. They came over to me and they said, "Could you please put your child in the seat?" Well, if you can't sit down the whole time, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Sorry, if he's not going to sit there the whole time, I'm sorry, we can't serve you here. And we left. Now we're in the hotel room. Something like that can just be really upsetting. I said, "You obviously are not kid-friendly here."
You're gonna drunk cry. Don't do it on TikTok.
Drunk crying on TikTok because a restaurant didn't want her toddler wandering aimlessly through the floor. Yeah, they are kid-friendly, as in we don't want a server to drop hot food on your kid's head.
Yeah.
Right, or
It's
go
real simple.
bother other people who are trying to eat.
Sure.
You think your kid's cute, but guess what? Not everybody else thinks your kid is cute.
I never ever. I refuse to be the guy who's like, "Oh, but it's just you don't have kids yourself." When our kids, if my kids started having a freak out, we just got up and left. It was like, I'm not going to subject everybody else to this nonsense. This is an 18-month-old kid. Why does he get rights? Never was that guy. And by the way, having worked in a lot of restaurants, if I saw a kid, even when I was young, if I saw a kid wandering around unattended, it's like everything comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to trip over that kid. That kid's going to get hurt, and you're going to spill the souffle on some innocent bysitter at their table.
It's absolutely obnoxious to everybody else that's there. That's this number one job of a parent. Keep your kid on, if they're going to come to the restaurant, they're not equipped to behave like the rest of us, but then don't be there. You know what I mean? You're not guaranteed service if you're an 18-month-old that can't behave.
And well, that's the thing. It's like the expectation of, but I birthed this child. You don't understand what I went through. And the answer is, I don't care. This is
right.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. That's always the appropriate answer. Headlines coming up. We're feeling Minnesota.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
It is April the 23rd, and I am dying to know what's happening in the world, Paul Fletcher.
Well, first of all, I want to say happy National Administrative Professionals Day to all those hard workers in offices that usually make the office go round.
Nappy Day.
That's right.
National Administrative Profession. Yeah, okay. I was making sure I got that right.
And you know what? That's a good acronym, because let them go take a nap at work today. That'd be a good. I was reward.
I was going to say thinking about those jobs makes me want to take a nap, but okay, that's fine.
Or that the hotel this is awesome. The hotel that inspired the horror classic The Shining is making major upgrades.
Okay.
I think we should have a KQRS morning show, a Gorman in the morning field trip to this thing. The new owners of the Stanley Hotel in Colorado are tapping into municipal bonds to use nearly $300 million to add more rooms, an event center, and a horror museum curated by Blumhouse. That's the production company behind Halloween, Paranormal Activity. The goal is to take advantage of the Sundance Film Festival, which is relocating. I'm having difficulty talking this time around. Mm-hmm. It's relocating to Boulder in 2027. The Stanley Hotel is an independent 196-room hotel on 40 acres. It opened in 1909. I didn't realize it was that old. And it's on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. That is going to be... I already know that when I get home today, the wife is going to be like, we're going!
As long as The Shining. As long as the maze is refurbished, I'm fine.
Is this the kind of thing that recreational marijuana can buy you? Is a cool-ass hotel?
Apparently that's the case.
Sounds like it, because it is municipal bonds, after all.
That is exactly right.
But how cool does that sound? Especially if they do it right. If they do it right, this could be so badass.
Where is that in Estes Park? Does it say what town it's located in? I think it's right near there. I have a buddy who lives out there. That makes sense to me. I've never, and I've been very close, and I just, for whatever reason, now I'm like, man, why wouldn't I drive out and take a look at the Shining Hotel? But I've never taken advantage of it.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
You're right. It is Estes Park. Google told me so. I've been there. I've been to Estes Park many times and have never stopped by either.
Still traumatized when Jack brought Scatman down with the axe. That's what did it for. There's a lot of scenes that were scary, but that's the one that broke my heart. The rest of it, whatever. It's kind of weird, but I hated seeing Scatman go down like that.
I got the heebie-jeebies all down my back just thinking about that movie in general.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights went down last night. How about those Minnesota Wild flipping the script and
the Axeman
just kicking the snot right out of the Golden Knights in Vegas last night. At 10 p.m. puck drop is apparently just what the doctor ordered for this Minnesota Wild team. A 5-2 win, a game that they were that the Wild did lead at one point 5-0. So don't let the score fool you. It was not as close as that might even seem at 5-2. Kaprizov just playing some hockey, ladies and gentlemen.
Doing what he does.
He 2 assists in the series opener, 2 goals and another assist last night. Kaprizov with a goal of his own. He and Boldy just running down the ice having fun together.
A 2-on-1, Kaprizov and Boldy. Kaprizov shoots. Save made by Hill. Score! It's squeezed across the line. Kaprizov just enough past Aiden Hill to make it 4-0 Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a big momentum shift. You know, they always say no series really starts until the road team gets a win, so consider this series underway now.
It's officially underway. That Kaprizov goal, as they say in hockey, squeezed through the wickets.
Pretty nice. So game 3 back here at the X tomorrow night, Thursday night.
I think I'm going to have to be there. It might have to be a short night's sleep for me.
Yeah, I would certainly think that's a good plan.
Especially since they have to move puck drop back to 10 o'clock so we can get another win.
Yeah.
I mean,
then I'll be at home.
I'm a very superstitious sports fan, so this is my call.
This is your call?
Yeah.
Late night.
Yes.
Late night in the at the X.
By our standards, it's already a late game. It's 8 o'clock.
That's
Puck
very
drop.
true.
That sucks.
One of my favorite baseball memories ever was a late in September, a rain delay where the game couldn't be pushed off. They had to finish. There was no time to say we'll make it up later. Mm-hmm. The old 11:45 p.m. first pitch.
Oh, geez.
Nothing better. I mean, literally nothing better. There's only 1,000 people in the whole stadium. There's one concession stand open. Those are the guys. Great memories.
That's what I was just going to say. Sometimes these bad moments create great memories.
It's the best. The Timberwolves woke up are probably waking up now, already back in town, and trying to figure out what the hell happened. I'll tell you what happened. The Los Angeles Lakers are a veteran team, and they understood you don't want to go down 0-2 with the next 3 games on the road. So the Lakers showed up and played last night. Basically, we have a team that's led by a very young star who's nowhere near his apex, and we got beat by a team with 2 of the best 10 players on earth and with 2 of the best 20 players in the history of the league still playing at a high level. It's not that surprising, really, that the Timberwolves did not have what it took to cap game 2.
There is positive spin, though. You went to L.A. and you took one of the games.
No, it's great to get one of the games,
court,
but killers kill, and they don't have the killer instinct yet. Plus, Mike Conley is 96 years old. I love the man's game, but it ain't happening anymore.
He's younger than LeBron, but on the court he's older. Is that what you're saying?
There's no comparison. It makes no sense what he's doing. He's a whole different conversation at his age with all the mileage, the most minutes ever played in league history, really? And he's still running up and down that court like a kid. He is a complete anomaly. The Twins are 8-15. Highlight of the game last night, just because it really was, Byron Buxton saved the game in the top of the 9th with 2 runners on. Check this out.
The 2-2. In the air to right center field. Buxton on the move to his left. Buxton will dive! And he caught the ball! Buxton caught the ball! Twins win!
I think he caught the ball.
He caught the ball. Nice diving catch to save the win. Hey, you know what? Take the highlights when you can get them with a team that right now is 8-15. Thank God, as always, for the Chicago White Sox. Apple Valley, good to have you with us this morning.
Oh, Apple Valley.
Come on, Apple Valley. You know we're thinking of you. Mm-hmm. One of my earliest memories, Paul, was the summer I turned 4, the very first ever moon launch. Neil Armstrong walking on the moon.
Right.
And what I remember specifically is walking outside with my older brothers, and they were looking at the moon with binoculars. And they were saying, I see him. He's waving. And then they wouldn't let me have the binoculars. Of course. They just tortured me. I was in tears. Mm-hmm. I was like, I want to see. And they're like, he's dancing. He's waving at us. And I never got near those binoculars. Because that's what older brothers do. Mm-hmm. And then that led me to be obsessed. I had an astronaut's lunchbox I would take to school every day. I was really, really, really... I'm over it now, though. I like Joan Jett, love rock and roll music. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah,
thanks.
Been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember.
That controversial topic.
Yeah, you really drew a line in the sand there.
Joan Jett was in a band called the Runaways. She went to England in the mid-'70s and turned on the TV and saw a band playing that song. They were called the Arrows.
Yeah.
And it was a hit over there. And she said to her friends in the Runaways, we got to do this song. And they went, you're crazy. And she didn't forget it. And a few years later, when she finally got a solo deal, I guess she shoved it in their faces.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of an iconic anthem to this day. Runaways could have had it.
Yeah. She served up a cherry bomb.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
We talked yesterday, like everyone else on planet Earth did, about the Unison twins from Australia.
It's so freaky.
It's a very, very bizarre thing. First of all, let me say this. If you, listening to my voice right now, happen to be an identical twin, I would love to hear from you. 651-989-ROCK. Because this is just clearly the tip of the iceberg for these two women, 50-some-odd-year-old women in Australia who are identical twins, and they have been they have a little bit of a presence in Australia. They've been interviewed before. Yesterday, a big social media. What am I trying to say?
They went viral. They went viral as hell.
They went viral. There was an attempted carjacking that they were witness to, and when they were asked innocently, so what happened? It sounded like this.
And one guy, he was up there with our mum. He went up there and he was coming back down towards us. And he goes, run, he's got a gun. And our heart started to pound. And I said, oh, Mum, where's Mum? And poor mum was stuck up there, but apparently our brave mum, she goes, "Are you all right?" Because he had all blood all over his face. And he goes, "I'll shoot you." She goes, "Hey, I'm here to help."
Oh my.
Okay, hey, really quick, Steve, you and me together. Run, he's got a gun, okay? Run! We're supposed to do it in unison.
He's got a gun.
He's got a gun.
The thing that blows my mind about this is this story is so crazy. There was a carjacker. He's holding up somebody else. And we're talking about these two women who talk at the same time.
A gentleman crashed a car into another car, a deadly car accident. He jumps out and then carjacks a passing by SUV. I mean, it's like an explosion of crime. It's a Guy Ritchie movie.
I was gonna say it's an action sequence in a giant picture.
And all we care about is these two ladies in these weird hospital scrub looking things that run a bird sanctuary speaking together in unison.
We've seen the carjacking, the gunpoint, all that. We've seen that before. We haven't seen this much ever.
Pretty great. So I want to know just what twin experiences, man. I'm down for it. 651-989-ROCK.
92 KQRS.
Discussing the Unison twins from Australia.
They're like unicorns.
They certainly are. The fact that they complete each other's sentences, they basically speak the same sentences in unison.
It's crazy.
Totally bizarre thing. I asked for a twin to call in, and we got one.
Wow.
Mark from Burnsville's on the horn. Mark, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you a fraternal or an identical twin?
Identical.
Oh,
and
60 years old.
What have you got for us?
60 years.
What's that? I'm sorry.
We've been identical for 60 years.
Well, that's
all right.
That works.
That's good.
So do you? I mean, we always hear these anecdotes and stories about how twins have such these connections that defy, what other people might think is rational. But so, are you and your twin oddly connected in unexpected ways?
We are. I was when I called in, I shared that we will dress alike and show up at a social event still to the day. Our parents did that when we were younger and we hated it. And yet today, when we have a choice, we still dress alike.
Wait a minute. So you'll show up at an event where you guys live separately, but you'll show up not knowing what the other's doing and be dressed the same.
That is correct.
And it's not planned, right?
Never planned. And then we kind of look at each other and give each other an odd look and kind of move on. When I was dating my wife 30 years ago, she came up to him thinking it was me, and as she went to put her arm around him, she got this weird aura that, well, it's not really Mark.
Mark, that's where I was going to go with this. Let's go back to younger years. Did you guys, there's a million tropes about pretending to be your twin to get out of a test or to on a dating situation. Did you guys ever have time? Did you pretend to be each other and get away with it?
Yeah, been there, done that. We were in high school, and my twin wanted to go and do something else, but he had an algebra class, and he asked me if I would go sit in class. Well, I went to school for academics. He went to school for the social aspect of it.
Okay, right.
So he told me exactly where to sit and what to do and all that. Well, when the teacher asked the question, I raised my hand, and the teacher said, where's your brother?
No.
Wow.
Really? Clever.
Wow. I guess it's probably one of those things. If people don't think about it,
it's an intuitive
they
teacher.
would get a sense, and then I'm sure people probably talk themselves out of thinking that was happening at the same time. Mark, thank you for the call, man. That is fascinating.
I'll tell you what. If I was an identical twin, if I had that experience, it would have been endless pranks. That's all they would have done were pranks.
I think so.
I mean, that's just like a massive opportunity that not a lot of people in existence get to take advantage of.
Did you guys see this documentary called 3 Identical Strangers from 8 or 9 years ago?
No, is it like doppelgangers?
It's triplets who are separated at birth.
Oh.
And they find each other later in life, and it's heavy. It's
powerful.
It's some of it's like that's really cool, and then some of it's really
intense and sad,
very intense. Yeah. Raised in 3 entirely different types of families, socioeconomic levels, like nothing nurturing similarities, and yet they had so much. They were so alike. Like the food they ate, the cigarettes they smoked. They were all high school wrestlers. Separation anxiety as kids throughout their childhoods. I mean, all these things pop up It is truly fascinating.
You can rent it on Apple TV. It's also on the Tubi app if you want to get it. Yeah, like I'm totally intrigued. I want to watch this. Yeah.
Johnny research over there. Well done.
Oh, yeah.
No, I appreciate that because I was going to
absolutely.
remind myself I want to go probably check it out again.
Yeah, I wish it was on other, more. But the beautiful thing about random platforms like Tubi is you can go sign up for a trial, watch this thing, and then discontinue your trial and never pay a dime to see it.
Always
you
cutting
would
the corners.
do something like that,
Of course
He'll blame it on his evil twin if the Tubi cops show up.
Yeah. That was my twin.
You know how that works.
The Tubi cops. They have a police force, huh?
Of course they do. The Unison twins did get a call from the people at Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, one day they're watching a carjacking happen, and 2 days later they are on network television in the United States.
Joining us now from Queensland, Australia, Bridget and Paula Powers. Hello, Bridget and Paula. You really are twins. How is your mother?
Our mum is doing great. Yes. And you know what? She said that she's doing fine because she had 7 kids.
Well, you've caused quite a commotion with this video. When did you become aware that you had delighted the globe?
Well, when we heard from your show.
Hey, this seems like a comedy bit, but I know it's not. Do you speak in tandem on purpose?
No. This is us, and that's how we are. We know that we annoy a lot of people out there, but you know what? If they can't stand hearing us talk how we do, they can just simply turn off the TV.
Yep.
Hey, I love it. I don't find it annoying at all.
Man, I grew up with a bunch of brothers, and I was in a family where we'd go to church on Sundays or wherever, and everybody knew I was a Gorman, but didn't know which one. And we lived in a neighborhood full of large families, but it was like, oh, that's one of those Gormans. I mean, I heard that my whole life. That's one of those Gormans. And we did look alike, kinda, just the way normal siblings, you can see. But the idea of going in public with someone that looks exactly like you, being everywhere, having somebody that is not your doppelganger, your same genetic, it's you basically, genetically speaking. That is, man, the more I haven't given this a thought in forever. Now I'm just blown away by you just think about the depth of experience you have. Like what you just said, if I had a twin, and it's like, well, you don't really know what it would be like, but we can all assume, it would just, there's no other way to, your worldview would be so different knowing that you're sharing everything with someone that, I don't know. It's just it's a fascinating thing.
It's going to change your overall perspective of everything. Yeah, and and as an outsider looking, an outsider looking in, or however the hell you want to say it, it's fascinating. I mean, every aspect of it is fascinating.
I don't know. One of me is enough.
Yeah,
that's true.
No one's arguing.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I'm always creeped out because every few years you'll see it like on the Today Show. It's a set of identical twins married some identical twins.
Ooh, yeah.
And the freaky part is they both have a baby, and those cousins are actually genetically siblings.
Yeah.
That's a weird. That's just like, come on, guys.
That whole thing is.
What are the chances that you and your sibling meet someone and their sibling, and you all fall in love and you get married? I mean, that's very slim, and it's like identical twins doing it. That's just a plan. They were just like, hey, man. You want to marry some identical twins? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I wonder if...
Because they were thinking the same thing because they're identical twins.
I wonder if there's identical twins married to identical twins porn.
I mean, there's all kinds of everything under the sun porn.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
You found out how to watch that documentary in about 3 seconds. I'm sure
you want me to Google this too?
I'm sure you could answer your own question.
Will I get in trouble with HR?
On your personal device over there, for sure. We're feeling Minnesota on Gorman in the Morning. Headlines are coming up.
Gorman in the Morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the Morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Good Wednesday morning. Very glad to have you with us. We're feeling Minnesota. We need some headlines. Paul, what's happening in the world?
I like to call Wednesday the third step of the 5-step program of the weekend. 35W will be closed in both directions this weekend. Speaking of the weekend.
No.
I know, between Burnsville and Bloomington, MnDOT said the closure between the Burnsville split and I-94 in Bloomington will begin at 9 p.m. Friday, last through Monday, 6 a.m.
Ouch. Ouch.
There's some serious work being done, too. The shutdown will allow crews to take down the Burnsville Parkway and Highway 13 bridges. Take down! that pass over the highway as part of a broader $80 million improvement project in the area.
Stupid bridges.
Yeah.
I know, right? But like you said, it's nice to be in a town where they take care of the roads.
It's very true.
Pope Francis was known for his humble style, so this shouldn't be surprising. He asked for a simple underground tomb. The Basilica, which sits outside the walls of the Vatican, is home to his favorite icon, the Virgin Mary, to whom he was particularly devoted to. And so his burial site will be a break from tradition, as many of his predecessors were laid to rest in the crypt of St. Peter's Basilica. Months before his death, I love this. He revised funeral rites and simplified them to emphasize his role as a mere bishop. These changes allowed for his burial outside the Vatican.
Francis, the chairman of the board, for real. Nice job.
Just like he talks the talk and walks the walk, man.
Apparently so.
And just in case people hadn't heard, because I hadn't heard this, the Vatican announced he suffered a stroke. That's what put him in a coma and led to heart failure. So that's how it went down, unfortunately.
Got it.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2025. This is going to make you so happy, Steve. It's going to be revealed live on the April 27th episode of American Idol.
Wow.
What's more rock and roll than that?
Why do they get the scoop?
I don't know.
That seems
because they're dying for ratings, probably.
Because Seacrest calls all the shots for those guys.
That's absolutely
Talk about
right.
the chairman of the board.
We've talked about the fan vote only counting as one vote. So faring well there doesn't guarantee anything. However, last year's leading artists, the top 5, all got in. So for whatever that's worth.
All right.
Fair enough.
Okay,
we'll see. We'll see. So what is that? Sunday night's American Idol?
Is it Sunday, April 27th? Have they moved? Have they buried American Idol on Sundays?
I'm just saying. If you said 27th, that's Sunday. I know this. I'll be asleep.
Morning. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'll wake up Monday morning and I'll either have a million text messages or I won't.
Hey, that's really, really true. Bruce Springsteen has discussed his involvement with his biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Often you hear the subject of these projects expressing objections of some sort.
Right.
They find something they don't like about the project. But Bruce says visits to the set brought back some memories and describing the film as, quote, fantastic. Jeremy Allen White is fantastic, and he's going to be playing Bruce. In this film, during the early 80s, it centers around personal and professional circumstances that led him to making his seminal work, 1982's Nebraska. No release date for it, though.
Wow, fair enough. That reminded me. There was Sean Penn directed a movie called The Indian Runner, and it was based on a song from that album called Highway Patrolman. Great song, and the whole movie was taken from that tune and turned into a real story. Really good stuff.
Yeah, Sean Penn doesn't mess around. I remember hearing about that. Sorry, I remember hearing about that flick, but I never watched it.
It's good.
Time to put in the search bar.
It does the job.
You do sports. I'm going to go search the Indian Runner.
I am going to do sports. Okay. Let's talk about the Minnesota Wild drawing even with the Golden Knights last night in Vegas. If you were watching the 10 p.m. puck drop, you saw Las Vegas come out strong. 5 straight shots, and then all of a sudden the tables turned in an instant. The Wild put 5 in the net before Vegas could counter. A 5-0 lead before finally giving up 2, 5-2. It's a great way to get back in the series. And as they say, when the road team wins, the series has begun. Now home ice back now in the Wild's hands, if you will. Kaprizov, boy, what a couple games he's had. And last night went ahead, not happy with just the assist from game 1. He went ahead and put a few in himself.
A 2-on-1, Kaprizov and Boldy. Kaprizov shoots. Save made by Hill. Score! It's squeezed across the line. Kaprizov just enough past Aiden Hill to make it 4-0 Minnesota.
Minnesota's last regulation victory was March 27th.
Holy cow.
How about that? Been a while since they had one in regulation. And the last time the Golden Knights lost in regulation was April 3rd. So that was a turn of events for both teams.
April 3rd, a pivotal day in Minnesota radio.
Big day around here. Thursday night, tomorrow night, they're back in the X for Game 3. I imagine it will be rocking inside for a game tomorrow night, which will not take place at 10 p.m.
If that place isn't packed, maybe we have to revoke state of hockey.
It'll be packed. It'll be rolling. The Minnesota Timberwolves will return from for Game 3 of their series with the Lakers. Also tied 1 game apiece, but a very different sense of momentum as they took game 1 in LA and then just laid down yesterday. I watched the first half of the first quarter and realized, this is already over.
Oh, wow.
They came out like guys who'd spent the day off at the beach, and the Lakers came out like guys who spent the day off furiously pumping iron and with vengeance in their souls. That's what it looked like right off the tip-off.
The Wolves came out like a can of Coke that had been sitting on a counter open for 3 days. Flat.
Okay.
Flat.
Fair enough. I see where you're going there.
I saw that Ant got fined in game 1 for making some inappropriate gestures, and now I'm superstitious about that. If he doesn't get a fine for flipping double birds or something, we're losing. So let's get going.
Another $50K to charity, courtesy of Anthony Edwards, who, if you remember, before game 1 said no technical fouls, no problem. I'm gonna keep my emotions in check.
Yeah,
dude, unleash the emotions. We need to win in game 3.
Act like a petulant child, and that's when we win.
That's exactly when we win, as it should be. The Twins beat the White Sox last night.
Wow.
That's what the White Sox are here for. They serve it's a public service they provide. Highlight of the game was actually the last play of the game as Byron Buxton saved what would have been it would have been the tying runs, if not the go-ahead runs, with 2 outs in the 9th.
The 2-2. In the air to right center field. Buxton on the move to his left. Buxton will dive! And he caught the ball! Buxton caught the ball! Twins win!
Wow.
Yes.
It sounds like the guy was sitting there making the call and then someone kicked him in the shin. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good thing an actual play happened, because otherwise you'd be like, what happened to that guy?
Think about it. It took a play like that to get past the University of Chicago White Sox.
That's exactly what it took. Hey, Centerville. We're thinking about you. Glad to have you with us. Centerville, Minnesota.
Right there in the Rice Lakes area. Beautiful.
It's a wonderful place to be, an even better place to be from.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
That's the word on the street.
I mean, if
anyway.
you're living on a body of lakes or a system of lakes, I mean, life is good.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the Morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.